Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse Podcast. This is episode number 490. My name's Adam Patterson. With me today, we've got Kevin Rakestraw. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, how's it going?
Going pretty well. You know, no complaints on my end. This week on the show, we'll be talking about No One Will Save You, which is available now on Hulu. We'll also be going over some of what we've been watching on the watch list and this week's new releases in theaters, VOD, and Blu-ray. Thank you so much for tuning in. New Save by the 90s, as I mentioned last week, we're going to be doing fantasy comedies. I'm still working on the edit on that. We have it recorded, so stay tuned for that. Also, we have the lineup done for our Halloween episode. Very excited for that, so stay tuned. Let's talk about No One Will Save You. I have a synopsis here. A young woman who's been alienated from her community finds herself in a face-off against a host of extraterrestrial beings who threaten her future while forcing her to deal with her past. This is directed by Brian Duffield. Kevin, we'll start with you. What were your initial impressions of No One Will Save You?
Man, I was kind of excited for this, I gotta say. You know, a bit of a horror movie with an extraterrestrial lean to it, and in the setup of like a home invasion movie. So all of those three things I enjoy. So putting them all together, like, oh man, I'm definitely interested. I'm definitely down to watch this. And I gotta say, the way in which it starts is pretty much kind of what I was envisioning, right? Kind of what I was thinking. And then, man, just took a lot of turns that I did not foresee or did not expect. And I'd say that while not all of them worked for me, it was enough that like it kind of threw me off balance relatively early on that I kind of like, buckled in. I was like, okay, well, I don't know what the hell this movie's going to be doing.
This movie's zagging when you think it's going to be zigging.
Yeah, I was thinking zig most of the time, and it just kept zagging.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, it's zagging, so I'm going to expect to zag. Then it zigged, Adam.
Yeah, all over the place.
It's wild. And for the most part, I enjoyed it because I appreciated that. Like, it started to lose me a little bit towards the end because it started zigging and zagging a bit too much for me. Getting a little whiplash, right? But
getting a little exhausted.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, this was surprising. Like, I fully expected this movie to be kind of and marginally entertaining, and it was more than that.
Yeah.
So kudos.
Yeah, completely agree with you. I didn't really know a ton about this going into it. All I knew is that it did star Caitlin Dever and that it was aliens invading her home. Like that's really all I knew. I think I saw part of the trailer, but not even the whole trailer. Maybe I saw like a teaser or something, or just like an ad for it or something. So yeah, I didn't really have any idea or expectations going into this. I was kind of just hoping for just an alien type movie. I like the idea of this young woman going up against aliens invading her home. Like that, I was sold on that premise alone. And then where it goes and what it is, it's definitely a lot more than that. I think that the main thing that should be discussed first of all is that there's no dialogue in this movie. There's like one line of dialogue in the entire movie, which is that was a surprise right off the bat.
I was not expecting that.
I was like 10 minutes in and I'm like, is this going to be a dialogue free movie? And it almost is, which I thought that was kind of refreshing in and of itself, that a mainstream kind of, sci-fi movie like this would take that kind of risk in presenting a movie with no dialogue. And not only that, but like some of the places that it goes and some of the angles that it takes are not conventional at all. Like the ending is unconventional. The set pieces and what happens is not conventional for like a typical alien invasion type movie. So I was very surprised with this. I thought Caitlin Dever did a really great job in this role. I think she's a great actor, in normal roles, but the fact that she was able to, give us so much of this character and allow us to like know who this character is without her saying anything. I think that just is a testament to her abilities as an actor. I liked the creature design. I thought that the aliens looked cool. I thought they maybe could have done a little bit more practical effects. That's something that I will probably always say if there's a lot of CG used.
I gotta say though, going into this, this being kind of like a, not that hyped up, dropped on Hulu. Like I kind of had an expectation of like, okay, there'll probably be a lot of
off-screen, like shadow type stuff.
A ton of that, right?
Yeah.
But man, I was pretty surprised by
the
creature design, but also a lot of the just like the effects work.
Oh yeah, it's
some of the stuff that they staged where I was
dude. Yeah. Way bigger than I expected. I mean, you got explosions in here. Like the scale is way more than I expected. I thought that this was going to be pretty much just taking place in her house and that's it. And for the most part, it does. Like it largely takes place in her house, but she does leave her house at some point and like it does get larger in scale. And I was pretty impressed with all of the special effects. I liked that there were different types of aliens. I thought that was a cool little addition where it wasn't just the same alien. And the design of them, it sort of cribs from what we think of when we think of like the kind of gray extraterrestrials with the big eyes and stuff. Like, so it's sort of a play on that design, but they do some really interesting things with it, like specifically like the big one, the big spider looking one. And like the way that they like kind of communicate and stuff is very, it's like that they actually took time to figure out how they want, like what they wanted with this like species, if that makes sense. Like they figured out,
actually like flushed them out a little bit. Like it doesn't, you can't decipher it, so to speak, but you know that there's something there.
It's more than just a creature attacking people or taking over their bodies or something like that. There's actually like different components and they have different ways of communicating and different things that like they have different goals that seem apparent. Like they're, abducting some people and taking over bodies. And then there's like those crab or the like spider things that are like, or like the worm things that like go inside of you. So
the koosh ball.
The koosh ball. Yeah. Like the sea anemone things. Like those are great, by the way. Love that design. Very creepy. And I guess that will lead me to the next thing is that I thought that the scares in this, the horror elements, were quite well done. Like, it's creepy. Like, there's some really cool shit that happens in this. That one scene when she first goes outside and you see the eyes glowing that are like kind of peeking. It's not in focus. It's in the background. And it's like one of those things where you might even miss it if you're not paying attention. I love that kind of shit in these movies. And I thought that was such a great scene. And just all of the scenes of her in the house hiding while it is kind of moving around through the house and stuff. Very, very well done, I thought.
Oh yeah. I thoroughly appreciated how this movie kind of started because it kind of struck close to home for me and my wife, because we have this, like, as soon as you go outside, go down the back steps, there's this weird ring of dead grass
Oh.
It's not that it's like a circle, but it's not completely
Mm-hmm.
closed. It's pretty much exactly like it is in the movie, which is like the first thing that she sees, right? Where
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh, that's fucking weird."
Yeah.
And me and my wife just looked at each other like, "What the fuck?"
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a
I'm sure it's just grubs, but it
yeah.
is cool now to think like, "Oh, it's probably fucking aliens." I bet you.
Yeah, probably.
It's aliens. But also towards the end of this movie, because like this thing also just escalated to different levels than I was expecting. Like it got more and more unconventional, like you said at the outset there, where it kind of reminded me of what was Fire in the Sky,
Mm-hmm.
where it kind of gets like deranged towards the end. And I'm
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
I don't know what the fuck I'm watching anymore because this is like a different movie almost entirely now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it gets pretty wild. It gets almost weird. Almost weird
Hmm.
by the end.
Yeah, it was unsettling because it's like we are so far from where we started. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really cool. I got to say I was pretty surprised by this. I had like a hankering for this type of movies, and I think that it really did a good job of delivering. And it's PG-13 too, so you know it's not uber violent or anything like that. Like, you know, teenagers could easily see it, or like younger kids, not young kids, but I think that
Oh man,
there's always
it's like little.
space for a good PG-13 horror movie.
Oh, if little me saw this, I've been scared to
I
fucking
know.
death.
Yeah, same here.
Like I couldn't watch X-Files. You imagine me trying to watch this shit?
I mean, I still think, like, for me, because I did see Fire in the Sky when I was a kid, and it scared the absolute shit out of me. I think that Fire in the
Right.
Sky is. Actually, now that I think about it, it's really just that one scene in Fire in the Sky. You know, the abduction
Yeah,
scene.
so it's
Everything,
terrifying.
like everything else in Fire in the Sky is pretty, like, dry. But this movie definitely has more scares per minute. You know, than something like Fire in the Sky. But I still think that Fire in the Sky is more intense. The abduction scene.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I think Fire in the Sky is rated PG. By the way, I think it's like,
Which is insane.
yeah. I think that it is like. I could be wrong about that, but seem to remember it being PG-13. Maybe it got re-rated. Anyway.
I can see that.
It almost has a Quiet Place vibes at the beginning, but
Yeah, it has a lot of vibes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you like I said, Fire in the Sky. I think you have some of that in there.
Oh,
you
certainly.
definitely have a Quiet Place in there. There's definitely that. There's a couple of things. There's a couple of different movies in here. You know what I mean?
And also like home invasion thriller type movies. I mean, it is a home invasion movie, at least at the beginning. You know, at the onset is definitely a home invasion style movie.
Yeah. But it's definitely not that at the end.
No.
It becomes something completely wholly different.
Yeah. I'm not really familiar with this director. He did Spontaneous, which I never saw. I liked the idea of Spontaneous, where it was like people, kids exploding. Like, I think that's kind of funny, but I never saw it. I should see it, actually, now that I enjoyed this one.
Yeah, because that is a wild synopsis.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and give this a score. I'm sitting at like a 7.5 on No One Will Save You.
I'm sitting at like a 7.5, which is wild because like after I watched it, like always immediate response was just like, yeah, that wasn't bad.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that. But it's been sticking with me.
Yeah, I think it is a movie that sticks with you. I don't know. I don't necessarily know if the rewatch factor is very high on a movie like this, but I also think that it is a movie that you will remember by the end of the year. You know, like it's a movie that I think will stick with you.
But there is another part of me too that's just like, I mean, I appreciate that it's on Hulu, right? But it's also wild that it's on Hulu. So I'm like, I feel like this would kill in a theater.
Oh, so do I. I mean, I didn't know like, I mean, sound obviously plays a huge factor in this. We didn't even mention that. Like, not only is it dialogue free, but, as a result, everything else is kind of heightened. So, like, the sounds that the aliens make, especially when it's like when she's like hiding from it and you hear it like walking and making its like little clicking noises and stuff, like, the sound is excellent. And I think that in a theater setting, like you said, like this would be very successful.
Just a bummer.
Yeah.
But there it is. It's on Hulu.
Yeah. So you can check it out there. Definitely recommend it. Good entry for, the kicking off the Halloween season, I think. Again, that's No One Will Save You. All right, let's talk about some of what we've been watching. I think that it is my turn this week. I will kick things off with another horror movie. Pretty much, I have some non-horror movies this week, but moving forward, I'll probably be talking about a lot of horror movies up until Halloween. I saw The 100, which is a Thai horror film. This is coming out very soon in the U.S. I think it's coming out next month. This is about a hotel where most of the guests are in quarantine. This is set during COVID, and I guess in Thailand, any visitors into the country were required to quarantine for 2 weeks. So it was basically a busload of travelers. They all have to quarantine in this kind of old hotel. And unfortunately, there is a monster centipede that is loose in the hotel and killing and infecting the guests of the hotel. So this is a creature feature that it's kind of a twofer. One is swarms of centipedes that are killing people. And two is a giant centipede that is able to like inhabit your body and take over your body, sort of like The Thing. So it's a cross between The Thing and, any kind of like any of those other creature features like worms or arachnophobia or one of those. It's not a very good movie. Like, it's not super well made, but I had a blast with it. I find centipedes to be extremely off-putting. Like, I would rather see snakes. I would rather see spiders. Pretty much anything over centipedes. Those are like the worst to me. The giant ones.
Yeah. I don't like them.
I can't stand centipedes, man. They just make my skin crawl. And this movie is chock full of centipedes killing people, eating them, taking over their bodies. So, yeah, for me, I was just squirming the whole time. So I had a really good time with this. It's very fun. Not necessarily like a great movie or anything, but I had a really good time with it. It's called The 100. However, the US release, they changed the title to Creepy Crawly, which is not good. So
I love it.
I will call it The 100.
It's also how you'll find it on Letterboxd.
Yes.
So that's helpful. I watched the Turts.
Oh,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
All right.
Watch them turtles.
Little Mutant Mayhem.
Little Mutant Mayhem. You were right. So many mutants. They just they have all of them.
Yeah,
all right there.
Chock full of mutants.
Just all of them there. And I gotta say, I thoroughly enjoyed this. Like, I thought this was a nice balance of there's enough elements for people like me and you, right? Where it's not this movie isn't just completely fueled by nostalgia.
Right.
Yeah. They did a great job of having actual kids voice the turtles.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a lot of modern things in there that you can, you're playing towards a new audience, but there's still just enough of nostalgic thing, the soundtrack,
mm-hmm.
and the characters themselves and stuff, enough for people like us, where it's yeah, these are the turtles, but it's not the same turtles. You know what I mean? but it's enough that it's like, this is what I liked about them when I was a little kid. Like, I don't need
Right.
you to take the turtles into like nostalgia land for me to get back into them.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I liked a lot about it.
And I love the art style of it because it's like kind of, I don't want to say it's not good because it is good. It's just not
It's like
it's like rough around the edge. Like it's like sketches
yeah,
almost.
yeah.
It's not like super clean,
It's deliberately
defined
rough,
edges.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
I like that a
I
lot.
think it played well with like everything that it was going for. It just everything worked in harmony, I thought.
Yeah, I agree. I had a really good time with that. Good
Who
stuff.
knew?
Yeah.
Who knew?
Mutant
It's like
Mayhem, Teenage Mutant Ninja
I'm not gonna
Turtles.
like I'm not gonna like these turtles, and I like these turtles. How
Yeah, I
about
mean,
that?
like, they've rebooted this the franchise like how many times there. There was like that one animated one that came out a few years ago, and I don't know, man. Like, I just like none of them really worked for me entirely, but I feel like this one was the one that really captured the vibes. I guess it just depends on what you're going for. If you're going for like the classic kind of the cartoon comic, or, well, the comic books were actually a little bit different. But if you're going for like the '80s like cartoon action figure vibe, or if you're going for the more kind of live action, the original live action Turtles movie, which was like decidedly darker than the original cartoon.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I guess it just depends on which way you want to go with it.
yeah. I like this. I like fun turtles.
Yeah, I think it works better. All right, I saw Bottoms. This is directed by Emma Seligman. This is a high school comedy, coming of age comedy. You have two high schoolers who they start a fight club in their high school in order to hook up with um, these two cheerleaders that they like. But as it turns out, this fight club that they create, it turns out to be much more. They form lasting bonds and friendships with these young women, and it's a way to empower the women that are in the group as well. But there's some infighting, and then there's some truths that come out. People find out that the reason that they only made the fight club was to hook up with these two girls, and things get fractured and stuff. It's quite good. I enjoyed this. It is, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Booksmart. It's sort of your typical high school, R-rated teen comedy, but it is slightly more askew. It's slightly weirder. It's slightly like more like self-aware than your kind of typical high school comedies. I thought it was very funny. I liked it quite a bit. Big shout outs to Marshawn Lynch in this. He plays the one of their teachers who becomes an advisor on, because they need like a teacher as an advisor for any club in order for it to be like official. So he becomes their advisor on the fight club, and he's so funny in this. So yeah, I definitely recommend checking out Bottoms. It's pretty good.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Oh yeah, I definitely think you'll like it.
Wonderful. I saw Graham Mason's Inspector Ike from 2020. This is on Mubi. This is like an American indie comedy. We're talking indie, low level stuff. And this is kind of like modeled after. It's kind of like a send up of like 70s detective shows. Like it's even billed as like the way it's introduced is like, oh, this week's episode is such and such. So this is like part of a series. And with that being said, it feels like I would really, really enjoy this show. Like I would love this show. But the episode that I saw, which is the movie Inspector Ike, is not the best episode, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like there's other iterations of this movie that are like, yeah, they nail everything and I love it. This is like, yeah, this is pretty good. I would watch more of this, but there isn't more of it.
Mm.
But for what it is, it was enjoyable enough for the time that I spent with it. It was just a silly time. Just a silly time.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in this. I
Oh,
want
you're gonna enjoy this
as
because it's just a ridiculous like murder mystery, but like how everything plays out. It's just a matter of Inspector Ike like figuring it all out, and he does a recipe of the week. So there's like a 20-minute detour where it's just him cooking chili, and he gives you the recipe, like how to make it.
yeah, I'm
Which,
in. I'm in.
which is like the thing of the show. It's like, get your recipe card ready because this week's recipe is chili. And sure enough, they deliver. They give you a chili recipe.
It sounds like Black Dynamite or something like that. Which, by the way, Outlaw Johnny Black is finally coming out. That's Michael Jai White's the Western, like blaxploitation Western one he made. Finally coming out this month.
Finally coming out.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, if you're into that kind of thing, you'll like Inspector Ike.
Yep, adding this to my list. I saw Send It by Andrew Stevens. This was kind of a joke watch, really. Like I said, I had family in town, and I found out about this movie from somebody who works at a surf shop locally, and they were telling me that this movie was shot here. And speaking of Michael Jai White, he's in this.
I was gonna say.
So this is it's a movie. It's a sports movie. It's about kite surfing, and it is the most horrific, poorly acted, poorly scripted, poorly shot thing that you will see. I don't know. Maybe this is the worst thing I've seen in quite a while. It's so dreadfully bad. It plays out like your typical sports movie where you have this like young guys in Texas, and he's like really good at kite surfing, but he's not like a pro or anything yet. And he gets the chance to go to like this big tournament in the Outer Banks, and he goes, and like his girlfriend breaks up with him, and then like he meets this other girl and kind of falls in love with her, and then there's like the big rival that he has to go up against, and it's just like your typical sports movie. Nothing really deviates from that, aside from a few like really weird choices that they would make. Like when the love interest is first introduced, she tries to pull the old dine and dash, and the cooks at this like diner catch her, but then they don't like just catch her and be like, oh, you got to pay or whatever. They act like they're actually going to assault her, like sexually assault her. And it's so weird, and it's so out of left field that this scene occurs. It's just a weird movie, very poorly made, and I can't recommend it at all. It's called Send It. I will say though, it's shot like literally like a minute away from my house, walking. It's like practically across the street, so that's cool.
Awesome. I watched a movie that was not shot anywhere close to where I live, and that's Wolfgang Petersen's The Perfect Storm from 2000.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Perfect Storm, George Clooney, Mark Wahlberg, Diane Lane, John C. Reilly.
The harrowing true story.
Yep. And I got to say, going into this, Wolfgang Petersen, so I'm kind of amped, right? But I'm also, there's some trepidation because I'm like, man, how's this going to look 3 years later? You know what I mean? Because like the whole thing is like this perfect storm. It all takes place on the ocean, like all the action, right?
Right.
I'm like, well, what's that going to look like in 2023? And I got to say, it still looks fucking good. It looks real good. The only thing
thought it would.
Yeah, it holds up. It looks great. The only thing that doesn't hold up is anything that's not the action, which there's a lot of it because the storm doesn't happen until like an hour into this movie. It's wild. just a lot of lead up, and the acting is not good. It is bad. George Clooney is terrible in this movie. Just like I didn't believe him for a second as a captain because he's just doing like Clooney. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is back in the day where it was just like you got to get Clooney in a movie. He's gonna get butts and seats, and then he shows up like George.
He's a little too glossy, you know. He's a little too suave, too charismatic,
and he's just acting like himself. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't do anything else.
We need like
George.
We need a gruff, racist fisherman. That's what we need.
They got George Clooney playing George. And he does a good George. It's him. You know what I mean? He's 10 out of 10 as a George Clooney type. No one does it better. But there's some other things too. There's one scene where like the Coast Guard is saving people, and the line deliveries from these two guys are just like the worst I've ever seen. It's just so bad. It's just jarring because it is like in the middle of this awesome action sequence. Then all of a sudden, it was like a parody. And you're just like, what the fuck is happening? But, man, the action stuff, like, as soon as that shit kicked off, oh, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time.
You knew how it ended, right? Or did you not?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
No, I had an idea. This is like...
That was like one of the big bummers, like, for me, is that, like, I knew what happened. Because it was like... I think that movie came out not too long after it actually occurred, right?
Yeah, which is kind of wild though, because I'm like, man, they're gonna end this movie. Like you know what I mean? Like you don't necessarily expect that from like a big Hollywood production. You're like, well, surely they're gonna rewrite this shit, and Wahlberg is gonna show up on a dock and Diane Lane's gonna jump in his arms and all that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, they straight up die. They're dead.
Well, I think it would be weird if they did have them survive. Like if I was the family, I'd be like, what the?
It would have been extreme. Yeah, it would have been extremely insulting.
Cool. Well, that's the perfect storm from 2000. Wow, that makes me feel old that came out in 2000.
Yep, 2000, buddy.
The last one that I'll mention is Aporia. This is directed by Jared Moshe. This is a light sci-fi movie. It's a time travel movie. It's more of like kind of almost like a love story in a way. What you have here is Judy Greer plays a woman who loses her husband to a drunk driver. And this is a year has passed, and her husband was a physicist, and she gets contacted, or she still stays in touch with their family friend, this guy who he's also a physicist, and it turns out that he and her husband, before he died, were working on building a time machine, and this guy finishes the time machine. Now, this isn't like a conventional time machine. Basically, what this does is you pick a date and like an exact location, and it shoots some sort of particle back in time, and it's essentially a bullet. So what they can do is they can essentially send a bullet back in time and kill whoever they want, as long as they know exactly where that person will be at a specific date and time. So What they do is they figure out where the guy is who killed her husband, and they use this time machine and kill him, and instantly her husband comes back. And she tells him about, oh, the time machine was successful, you were actually dead, all this stuff. And so the rest of the movie is just them deciding, like, okay, like, do we continue to use this? Like, what are the ramifications? Like, what if we use it and something really terrible happens to, like, just our reality, And, some crazy stuff does happen because, spoiler, they do continue to use it. It's very interesting. It's very, like, kind of lo-fi, in that there's not like there's no special effects at all, actually. So it's very much like like primer in that regard, where it all feels very grounded despite it being kind of a theoretical science type of movie. But yeah, I quite liked it. It's pretty good. So yeah, I would give it a light recommend. Check out Aporia. It's on VOD. All right, let's take a look at what we have in theaters this week. Got Saw 10 coming out.
Wow.
Yeah. They tried something different with the Chris Rock one, and I guess they were like, hey, that didn't really work. Let's go back to the old standard here, and bringing the old regular Jigsaw back and returning to the original franchise. This one looks bad, but I'm sure that I will probably not see it in the theater, but I'll check it out. I've seen all the Saw movies.
Yeah, you're not going to stop now.
No
You're
way.
too invested.
Yeah. I mean, I like the Saw movies for the most part. I recognize that they're not good. They're not good movies. In fact, most of them are very bad, but they're still enjoyable. Like I like how ridiculously convoluted the series got, because they wrote themselves into multiple corners, and then they have to do all these crazy gymnastics to get themselves out of it and retcon everything. So it's kind of fun. It's bad, but fun bad. Also, we have The Creator coming out. This is the sci-fi one from Gareth Edwards. I'm actually really interested in this. The world building in this looks insane. I'm very excited to see how the world building plays out in this one.
Yeah.
And I think there was another one. Dix the Musical is coming out as well.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Classic.
Let's see. On VOD this week, starting with the 25th, we have Scooby-Doo and Crypto 2. And that's not crypto with a C, that's crypto with a K. That's the super dog. So this is like a DC movie thing.
Mm-hmm.
Looks bad. On the 26th, we have Sniper Grit. Global... What is it? Global Response Intelligence Team. So there you go. That's the next entry into the thrilling Sniper series, on long-running Sniper series.
It's just, what a title. Sniper, : acronym, dash.
Yeah.
Explain what the acronym is.
Yeah. I just like calling it Sniper Grit, because the poster does not have a colon.
No.
So I just
or the dash.
Yeah. Sniper Grit. We also have The Beasts coming out. And then on the 29th, we got Warrior Strong, Deliver Us. We got Muzzle, The Re-Education of Molly Singer, and 57 Seconds.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a action sci-fi movie from the looks of it. So I'll probably check out Deliver Us, even though I don't know anything about it and it's probably horrible. I'll also be checking out The Beasts. I'm interested in that one as well. Heard good things about The Beasts.
I had to look up 57 Seconds.
Oh,
and
yeah.
This is something else. So that poster. So you got Josh Hutcherson.
It's got a very early 2000s vibe to it, that poster.
So it's Josh Hutcherson and Morgan Freeman, which is wow. Directed by the guy that did Tales from the Hood and Fear of a Black Cat. It's just
interesting.
Bizarre to me. Yeah, that's just an interesting trifecta.
Yeah, that is okay. All right. I'm slightly I have that on my watch list, so I'm kind of curious about it. I'm glad it's going to be on VOD, because I can't imagine seeing it. Seeing
that poster tells you it was born for VOD.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that one goes.
I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it.
57 seconds. Is it time travel? Am I?
It's
Oh,
about
a time altering device. So yeah, kind of
yeah.
time travel-y. All right.
He finds a mysterious ring that takes him back 57 seconds into the past.
Oh boy.
Watch out.
Is that enough time? I don't know. We'll have to see. See.
It'd be funny if it wasn't. Just
You
him
can't do
doing that
anything.
over and
It's
over.
just not enough time to actually do anything. So it's completely pointless.
Because there's like a refractory period, like when you go back to 57 seconds, 54 of those seconds is just you recovering.
I like that idea of a time machine that can only go back 2 seconds, and it literally just gives you nothing. Like you can't even like avoid a sneeze or anything. It's just, oh my god. On Blu-ray this week, we got A Blade in the Dark coming out in 4K. I'm gonna check that out. That's I think that might be a giallo. It's from 1983. We have Natural Born Killers coming out in 4K. We got Amazon Jail and Amazon Jail 2 from 1982 and 1987, respectively. So he gets, sounds like women in prison films there. We got Thunderbolt and Lightfoot from 1974 coming out in 4K. The Train from 1964. I think moving forward, I'm just not going to mention 4K and just we'll assume that it's 4K, because like pretty much everything nowadays is coming out in 4K.
Yeah.
Got My Bloody Valentine from 1981.
Hell yeah.
I Still Know What You Did Last Summer from 98. Let's see what else we got here. Looks like Ghostbusters is coming out with a double pack, so it's Ghostbusters 1 and 2.
The old double pack. Yep.
Limited edition reprint, it says. Elemental is coming out. That's the Pixar one that looks pretty boring. Private Crimes from 1993. What is that? I'm gonna tab that one. Cats Don't Dance from 1997. Animated. Warner Brothers animated. School of Rock getting a new release. The Fifth Element's coming out in 4K. That's also a limited edition reprint. What? I don't know what that means. Limited edition reprint of what? Like the Blu-ray? Like it doesn't even. I don't get that.
Probably. It's just like a second edition, you know? Like, hey, we ran out the first time through. We're gonna print like 200 more.
Yeah, that's
you guys are
weird.
just clamoring for it.
Halloween H2O getting a new release. The Doom Generation from 1995. Big fan of that one. Very 90s. Death in Brunswick from 1991. Carlito's Way is coming out on Arrow. This is a limited edition.
I still have not seen that movie.
Oh, man.
And you know what? I'm never going to. I just had that realization. I'm like, because I was like, oh, I should watch that. And then I immediately responded in my head, no, you're not. So I just need to come to terms with that. I'm never going to watch Carlito's Way.
Who knows? I would never say never. You know, it might come up. You might just have a hankering for a classic 90s crime thriller.
I guess I'm telling you you can bookmark this. That way, if I ever do watch it, you can throw this back in my face.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's a good movie, at least from what I remember. It's been a long, long time, so.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's a perfectly fine movie. I just have no interest.
I understand that. That's perfectly understandable. It looks like Dario Argento's Tenebrae is getting a new release. Man, a lot of horror movies coming out. I'm sure this is the we're entering Halloween season now, so got tons of things coming out here, including The Abomination, Ratman from 1988. Ratman. An Eternal Combat from 1991. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon getting that limited edition reprint treatment. We Kill for Love got Replicator from 1998. Give Me Pity. Oh my God, there's a huge number of movies coming out this week. Night Chills from 2001, Identikit from 1974, Will Your Heart Beat Faster from 1980, The Defilers, A Smell of Honey, A Swallow of Brine. I think that's two different movies. So The Defilers is one movie, and then A Smell of Honey, A Swallow of Brine is another movie. Wild titles on those two. I'm not sure what those are.
I don't know about that movie. Smell of Honey, A Swallow of Brine.
Is it a porn?
Yeah,
it sounds like
Sharon,
a porn.
Yeah, Sharon is a young office worker who sexually seduces and then cries rape on various men.
Yeah. That's an AGFA release, so yeah, that those sound like they're probably porn movies. What else do we got here? Holy fucking shit. Lords of Dogtown getting a new release. The Equalizer, that's the 2014 one. Story of a Cloistered Nun from 1973. Got some nunsploitation coming out. Am I still looking at the same day? Holy there's like hundreds of releases. I can't. All right, I'm just going to end it there. Because this is just too much. What do we have on Criterions this week?
Oh, we got two. First is La Bamba from 1987.
This is one of those movies that was just constantly playing on Fox in the afternoons.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those Fox afternoon movies.
Sure was.
On the weekends.
Lou Diamond Phillips, La Bamba. And the other Criterion, I don't understand this. I don't get it. Moon Age Daydream. Which is like some sort of like music documentary about David Bowie. 2022.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this movie. And I don't know what the fuck it is. But it's on Criterion. Like I've never heard anyone talk about this movie. I've never heard anyone mention this. But all of a sudden it's just on the Criterion channel or Criterion collection.
I've heard of it, but not. Yeah, it definitely didn't get much hype when it came out.
Yeah, bizarre.
Cool. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. And if you could give us a review on iTunes, that'd be great. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.